VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 739, recorded on December 11th, 2024.
Hello, welcome to the 739th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast, the 572nd episode of Video Game Roundtable. I'm TJ Denzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
I am Jordan Lund.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on gaming news from around the industry.
Yay! And we have a special guest. Jordan is back for a one-time appearance.
Hey guys,
Welcome back, Jordan.
He could try to get Paul back, but he's too busy with his stuff right now.
I got slowed down by 2 heart attacks. Give me a break.
Oh,
I said, well, I didn't ask. That's the reason why. I just realized, hey, I could have Jordan on. It's just to mix up the things. And by the way, it's coming to the end of the year, so it's like there's very little news, and all we have are rumors and speculations and all that stuff. But we also have, what have you been playing? And I will start first. I was at PAX Unplugged. So I got bacon and caution signs and what can I say? And landmarks. Oh, and the Catan Starfire's expansion, which actually comes with, check this out. It comes with space amoebas. Woo! Oh, and of course, the colossal cat in the box, which I had the small cat in the box, and now I have the colossal cat in the box. This is what happens when you go to PAX Unplugged. You decide, you know what? I'm not going to buy any board games because they take up space and they're expensive. And then you buy board games and they take up space and they're expensive.
That's the whole point of the board games, though, is to take up space
I
and
know.
be expensive.
Well, I just have to start giving away or selling some of the older games that I never play, I have a Star Trek game that's basically Star Trek version of Twilight Imperium that I never play because I can't find anybody to play. So I might, sell or give that away.
Here in Portland, we have a number of bars and barcades that have game nights where people bring board games, or they have their own in-house board games that you can play there.
You have Hex & Co. here.
Yeah, board games are pretty big here.
Yeah, no, they're pretty big in New York. We have Hex & Co. and all that stuff, and I run a board gaming group. But the thing is that the board gaming group has changed since the pandemic. Used to be would do hardcore games and all sorts of games. Now they just want to do light fare. There's some people who want to do heavy fare, but I have to keep them in mind. As for video games, I actually tried Genshin Impact, and yeah, it's just a cell phone game turned large.
I wanted to like Genshin Impact. I really did.
Hey,
I was presented it as filling the Phantasy Star Online hole in my heart.
I was about to say that. I was about to say, yeah, you're a huge fan of Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah, and it was fine. It wasn't great. It was okay.
I think the whole pulling random characters doesn't feel very appealing when it's all on RNG, and you could spend all this money or points and never get this character, or you could do like a one thing and get that character, and it just doesn't feel very fun. It doesn't give that sense of progression that I like.
I knew what was going on the minute the text looked like a cell phone game and any given like Ebony Online and stuff like that. I said, why is this so? I'll get to that in a moment, actually, about popularity. But then I came to my senses and I played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'm still playing it. It is like watching an Indiana Jones. Here's the thing. They said there's 4 hours of cutscenes, but it's not like a Hideo Kojima in which you're just forced to watch the starting cutscene for 50 minutes and just do nothing. Basically what happens is you're in first-person mode, and then when you reach the story beats, it'll go into third-person mode, and there's a lot of dialogue in that, so it's sort of like a few minutes. Troy Baker does a spot-on impression of Harrison Ford. And here's the cool part, and there's going to be a minor spoiler. So those of you who don't want to be spoiled by the beginning of the game, you replay the opening scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, except in first person. Yeah.
Nice.
and you do everything like it's part of the tutorial. Like it teaches you how to use the whip, because remember when Indy whips the gun out of the guy's hand, that's basically one of the mechanics. You press RB and boom, he whips it out of his hand. It's unfortunate they didn't get Alfred Molina to play Sapito, because he was. Who knew that minor character who gets impaled would become Dr. Octopus? But yeah, so far I just met the woman who's going to be his companion. There's a lot to do, and my brain was racking. Where have I done this before? Oh, I'm playing Thief, and Indiana Jones is Garrett. Except there's a lot more fighting. I mean, Garrett tries to avoid fighting. Indy can't avoid it, but the fist fights are good. And there's a mechanic in which you can keep learning how to do new moves. The camera part isn't as hard as I thought it would be, because what happens is you'll see this little icon for camera. You have to be careful, because also if you're doing a puzzle, the camera icon will pop up again, but doing that will give you a hint of what to do. And I'm trying to avoid doing that. Yeah, it's very Indiana Jones. It's if you wanted to play an Indiana Jones, and it takes place in 1937, which means it takes place between Raiders and the Holy Grail. And the opening, and a lot of it is going to be dealing with a fact. What happened? What was going on with Marion and Indy between those two movies? Short answer: they broke up, and Indy is just mumbling about why they broke up. Something happened. I haven't figured it out yet. Like I said, it's one of the things that's ongoing in the film. So there's a lot of acknowledgement of what happened in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and basically why she's not in Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail.
I do like that, because a lot of times these movies will just not even acknowledge that former love interest from the previous movie, because they want a new one in the new movie.
Well, I mean, we know about the Crystal Skull.
Well, and for Temple of Doom, they went backwards. Temple of Doom is
they went back to the 20s.
So yeah.
I'm not shocked that he didn't end up with Willie. Maybe he fucked her a couple of times, but that's about it.
Well, it was just awful, just terrible. And Spielberg married her. Go figure.
Oh yeah, and Temple of Doom was when George Lucas was in a dark mood. That's why it was such a dark movie, because he was having Spielberg had just broken up with someone, and George Lucas was divorcing Marcia, so it was sort of like they went from a dark place. At least they didn't do the haunted house thing, which they were supposed to do for the second one. They decided that would be too stupid. And then George wanted to do Aliens, and Steven Spielberg said, no, let's save that for Crystal Skull.
Aliens was perfect for a 1950s set movie, though. That was that. Everybody complains.
Have you ever seen a 1950s? No.
Yeah.
Because no. In the 50s science fiction, you'd have a lot of scientists sitting around doing nothing, or you'd have a guy. It wasn't like that, You're thinking of the Flash Gordon serials, which were from the 30s.
No, I'm thinking of 1950s flying saucers, invaders from Mars, all of that. That's perfect time to have Indiana Jones.
You're thinking of Ed Wood and not the big 50s science fiction.
Did the same thing. Back to the Future 1 did the same thing when Marty was trying to figure out how to scare his father.
Yep. Yeah, that was an author, not a movie.
Yeah.
It was a book, not a movie. You're thinking of Amazing Stories, and those movies. Those stories were not in the 50s. They did not have the Captain Ray gun things. That was in the 30s. You can look it up all you like.
I mean, it was also
the 50s science fiction where the day the Earth stood still, and
remember Toy Story?
The world.
Day the Earth Stood Still was a classic.
Yeah, but it was also a lot of scientists doing nothing, and one robot decided to attack. That's it.
Earth versus the Flying Saucers. That's another classic. War of the Worlds.
But those were not like
color version of War of the Worlds.
But the thing is that it was nothing like the Crystal Skull.
No, it wasn't, because Crystal Skull is obviously a modern movie. But what I'm saying is, if you
no, it didn't share anything with those films either.
what I'm saying is, if you're going to set an Indiana Jones story in the 50s, it makes perfect sense to do flying saucers.
It's weird and not. Would you have Alan Quartermain doing what's it called, things with flying saucers? No.
Well,
Just do something different.
Quartermain was 1910s.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I've been playing Indiana Jones, and it's kind of hard to put the controller down for that. Jordan, what have you been playing?
I've been thinking about Indiana Jones. I'm still trying to puzzle out what platform to get it on because I have everything. So,
I got it on PC Game Pass.
I have a decision to make. And it's also the time of year where I'm not allowed to just willy-nilly buy stuff because gift giving and things. So
I pay no money for it because it's on Game Pass, PC and Xbox. I played on PC Game Pass.
But the one that I picked up yesterday, as a matter of fact, I picked up Marvel Rivals.
I have that in my press account. I haven't tried it yet.
Free to play, hero-based shooter. It's 33 different Marvel characters to pick from out of the gate. I think there's 8 different stages.
DJ, this sounds like something you've been playing.
It's just
Go ahead.
It's just a hero-based shooter, team-based, 3-on-3. It seems kind of fun, but the primary attracted to me is being able to play as Jeff the Land Shark. Jeff the Land Shark is adorable.
PC, you could play as Kite Man.
You're one of those people.
I am one of those people.
Have you been playing it, TJ?
There are 3 characters. Yeah, I have been playing it, and he's right. It's really good. Like the Marvel Rivals feels like early days Overwatch, which is refreshing. And I know for a fact, I haven't had too much problem with him, but I've seen enough to know that, like, Jeff the Land Shark is a problem. Iron Fist is a problem. Cloak and Dagger can be a problem. But, like, this is, like, the first week of this game. Like,
yeah.
They weren't going to have it balanced on day one.
There was an interview with the guy who was the lead developer of Marvel Rivals, and he was talking about why Concord failed, and he basically said there was nothing to set it apart from anything else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't have any recognizable characters, and if Marvel Rivals had not been Marvel, right, if it had been Astro City the game, you might be able to see from the photo that I've got up, there's a lot of comic books in that room. Nobody would have known any of those characters, and nobody would have cared, and that's what Concord's problem was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was... I think that is a Guinness Book of World Records cancellation. 2 weeks.
But even my wife was like, "You could play as Jeff the Land Shark?"
I have been playing the hell out of Magic. She has like just the sweetest combo game as far as like what she can do. She has
the only thing I know about these characters is because they were in Marvel Midnight Suns.
Yeah, but like she has her teleports, and that allows her to be tricky with her movement. But she has just like a great combo system that if you can land the whole thing on somebody, it is devastating. I love playing her. Wolverine is pretty fun.
I have some comments. Celsa says hello from Brazil.
Yo. Magneto, like there's a lot of characters that play like variants of Overwatch characters. Like Magneto feels like a Zarya, where he can bubble shield himself or bubble shield his allies. And he has kind of the Lucio push, where if somebody gets too close to him, he can shove them back, and he can even shove them off the map if they're close enough.
Oh, my hair is terrible.
Same with like Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger have like a damage and healing thing like Moira. Punisher is kind of your Soldier 76 straight up shooter type, and it's just kind of fun the way that they attach Overwatch-like abilities and character archetypes to so many different Marvel characters.
Yep. Scott, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a murder mystery game called Locomotive. It's set on a train, and it's pixel based and side-scrolling, and they also have a mode to do noir, which means black and white. So you can play in that, but I think you lose some of the shading on the characters when you do that. And it's
this came out and it's by Chucklefish. It's published by Chucklefish.
And and made also with Robust Games. I'm on their Discord. It's a very funny point-and-click game. It kind of reminds me of the LucasArts.
I was about to say it looks very much like a Scum game.
Yeah,
that's full throttle and
it has
and
that kind
Maniac
of sense of
Mansion.
humor. I think it definitely does, and it's nice to play a pixel point-and-click game after so long, and it's really funny. The voice acting is really good, and really just I don't know, it's really good. So I've been enjoying that game.
Yeah. It's actually what's called the composer is Paul Zinnerman. For those who don't know, he was the one who also just did Wild Frost as well. Yeah, this is something that you would probably expect from LucasArts. There was another game that just came out from Chucklefish, at least on Xboxes. I think it was on Wii already, and that's a Wild Frost just came out on Game Pass. That's a roguelike deck builder. Game. Yeah, it's a deck builder. It was on PC and Switch and now it's on Xbox and PlayStation. By the way, for those who are looking for locomotive, it's 2 words. It's locomotive. So, DJ, what have you been playing?
Well, Marvel Rivals. I've also been playing Indiana Jones. I also went back into Total War Warhammer. They have some DLC coming out this week, and I got to play a little bit of the new factions. One of the coolest is they added to the orcs Gorbad Ironclaw, and his whole bit is like he's one of the few orcs that is like a grand strategist, and his whole bit is that he just designs new tactics as he wins battles. Okay. So the whole thing is his mechanic is called the plan, and once he like achieves certain like things like doing so many kills with arrows, doing so many kills with chariots, unlocking a certain tech, having a certain composition of units, he unlocks these tactics that he can equip as long as you have the right composition of units in his army. And they all had all sorts of benefits. Like squig herds are these little 2-legged, basically giant walking mouths, and they are pretty. They're good as shock troops, but they're also pretty unorganized and easy to scare and easy to rout. So if you unlock a tactic called herd mentality, you can make them unbreakable, and they won't like break off and lose focus as easily. So you can actually use them for solid flanking and shock units. Okay. And there's other stuff where like you get a certain thing where you'll be able to add fire elements to arrows when you fire them. There's just all sorts of fun, and you like develop and unlock greater plans as the game goes on. It's been fun. I like playing that game, and I forgot just how ridiculously grand it is when you like figure out a good battle strategy and put it to work in a fight.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to move on to news. First, we're going to do the mini news. For one, we're going to talk about just briefly I just put it down here and I moved it. Yeah. Sony has just a few days ago confirmed their interest in buying Kadokawa, which, among other things, owns FromSoftware. And they just said they're interested and they put in a thing, but please don't talk about it, which tells me they're not confident they can get it because they don't want to comment on it. So
acquisitions.
If they did get it, I think a lot of people. If they did get it, a lot of people are worried that the Souls games would become like Sony exclusive.
It's possible.
Acquisitions are very difficult because when a company expresses interest in buying another company, they have to shut down all of the internal conversations about that buyout. I can't tell you who I work for. Jonah knows who I work for. We had an acquisition that was in excess of several $1 billion, and we were not allowed to say anything because what happened was all of the Slack conversations, all of the emails, all of the internal conversations went to the SEC, and the SEC said, "No, your merger's not happening." So, to be honest,
that merger would have been an outright monopoly.
It would have been problematic. So the whole notion that Sony is saying, yeah, we're interested, please don't say anything, that does not surprise me at all.
No. The problems with this is that you'll often have the creative talent not wanting to be tied down, which is what happened to Tango Works, because the lead developer did not want. When he joined Bethesda, he thought he would be, what's it called, doing all the things, and then he said, "Oh wait, just Microsoft. Forget it." Then Microsoft actually did honor his request though, and put Hi-Fi Rush on multiple platforms. Not that I didn't think it was going to come out anyway. Hi-Fi Rush smelled like Ori, one of those games in which Microsoft says to Nintendo, "Hey, you want to play this game? Sure."
Hi-Fi Rush was just a delight, beginning to end. It was an absolute delight, and it's a shame that the studio got shut down and that
it shut down.
It shut down temporarily and then came back under a different name. But we still don't have the alternate physical editions. We still don't have, disc-based versions of it. I would love to get a physical edition of that.
They did release the soundtrack, though. At least there's that.
Yeah, they did. They did do the soundtrack on vinyl.
Yeah, and the thing is that my favorite boss is still Rekka. There's just something about her entrance that's just hilarious. Just banging your fist like that to the music, Wait, TJ, did you get around to playing it?
I have not had a chance to play it.
Good. Yeah, he hasn't played any of the Shadow of Mordor the Middle Earth games. He hasn't played the Hi-Fi Rush. What is with you, TJ? Jesus Christ, you're so...
He's playing his fighting games.
There's a million games to play, and I'm trying to work on all of them.
Yeah, well, play some good ones.
Hi-Fi Rush is one of those games where you start playing, and all of a sudden you go, wait, it's 6 hours later? How did that happen?
Hi-Fi Rush was the sort of game in which I said, this is cute, and the moment I realized it was special was when Chai bonded with 808, and they just stare at the camera and then I started smiling, and and the funny thing is that Hi-Fi Rush doesn't require you to be great at rhythm. All the rhythm does is give bonuses. It doesn't hinder you from anything.
Yep. Yeah, you don't have to be. It's not like Guitar Hero where if you don't have rhythm, you're done.
Well, except for one thing, and that's when you're doing that. When you have to go up that thing, you have to press the element. Yep. That's the only time that rhythm really counts. Which was really annoying because I thought I was saying, wait, I'm on the rhythm. I'm on the rhythm. Why am I not going up?
Yeah.
So
that's at the very end of the game too.
No, it's throughout the game when you're having to go up those elevators. Anyways, the only boss that battled me was that woman who was an opera singer or something like that, and that was the only time in which I really struggled because I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to be doing. I think I just muddled through it until I finally passed it. But yeah, what's funny is that that it's not until you finish the game in which you can enter the special rooms, which are basically challenge areas. And that's the only time you can actually use the costume DLC, which is really weird.
Yeah. I thought that was very strange too. What's the point of the costume DLC if you can't, have it during the game?
You have to just use it. Well, I guess there's a new game plus. Wait, is there a new game? I know. Well, actually, you can play it over again, and then you have access to those rooms.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the thing I'm saying is that they may buy the companies, but the question is, will the creative talent stay? By the way, do you know that Peter Molyneux is trying to make a comeback again? The guy won't go away.
AI is to the point where he can actually do what he wants to do now, so maybe it'll happen. Remember Milo? He could do an AI Milo.
That'd be extremely creepy.
It would be incredibly creepy, but I wouldn't stop him from doing it.
Yeah, there's too much abuse that could go on there from users. So, what was it called again? Project Milo. Was it Project Milo or something else?
I don't remember. I remember the name of the virtual kid was Milo.
Yeah. I just hope they bring back Racketeer as a non-Connect game because Racketeer was fun. That was the one Connect game that was real, and of course, Fruit Ninja. But Racketeer was really fun because basically it was 3D Angry Birds. So yeah, there's a lot of speculation about acquisitions, and we're just going to have to put it off until something actually happens. 8 years after a terrible launch, No Man's Sky finally has a very positive rating on Steam, which is 80%, and it still bores the tits out of me.
I've heard other people say that it's good, that they're enjoying it, and it seems like they've done a lot of updates to that game.
See, here's the problem, though. I would have rather they just did a No Man's Sky 2 and just fix it from the base up, because basically what they're doing, they're just iterating on the same core game, and the core game isn't that interesting.
Well, they want to move on to that whole Earth thing. Remember that they
do they? Because it's like Eric Barone and Stardew Valley. Oh, I am doing that chocolate store game. Oh, but let me make yet another update to Stardew Valley.
Sure, but like people are still playing, so it's all for the love of the game at this point.
I get that, but I want Eric Barone to go outside his house now. He's stuck in his house, and all he's thinking of, oh, you know what I could add to Stardew Valley?
See, I played working on the Chocolatier game, and he wants it to be a different style than Stardew. And
yeah, I know, but actually work on it.
So I played No Man's Sky when it came out, and I did the thing. I got to the center of the universe, and the game entirely resets. And
because it's a simulation.
They promised something big, and it was not something big. And
oh my God, you were all in a simulation. It's like we didn't figure that out in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. Sure. So I see the updates. Oh my gosh, they've added all this new content, and oh my gosh, it's doing this new thing. And I get as far as downloading the updates, and then I just don't play it.
See, the problem with procedural generation is that the computer does not know what fun is. You have to tell it what fun is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like at this point, the game is. There have been so many free updates to No Man's Sky since the beginning that.
Yeah.
It's almost an entirely different game than 1.0.
I really, what I need to do is I need to start it from scratch. Just,
Going with zero expectations and treat it like a new game.
Yeah.
The problem is the same game. They just added stuff onto it. That reminds me that Elite Dangerous is getting new content. And I give up, because the only reason why I played Elite Dangerous was because I would use my MetaQuest 2 and play it in 3D and turn on some music and pretend I was actually exploring in space.
Cyberpunk 2077 just got new content as well.
Yeah, and they stuck in Balatro in it.
Yeah.
There's a Balatro card hunt in it. Because, remember, Balatro did a Cyberpunk card set.
Right.
Well, apparently the reverse is true, and they snuck in without putting it in the notes. They actually said people are just finding these Balatro cards and saying, "What is this?" It's the weirdest. Scavenger hunt. This is a week old. Now, keep in mind we're doing this. We're doing last week's news, and here's the thing: it's December, so it's sort of like not much news, So Russian disinformation is trying to spark a boycott of Stalker 2 by claiming it's going to draft you into the war in Ukraine somehow. Do the Russians know how video games work? Trying to figure this out. I'm playing Stalker 2 here, and all of a sudden, I just got a letter from the Ukraine. I have to fly out there.
Who knew Russia had access to the last Starfighter?
Oh, wow.
There was this Russian game. Which was it was given $20 million, and there was a video about it. I'll have to post it and link in it. It's just like when Russia tries to make a video game, and it's like it isn't that it's necessarily propaganda.
Talking about Atomic Hearts?
No,
they've been coasting on Tetris for decades.
No, it's about Poland and
This War of Mine.
No. It's a different game. It's trying to copy The Witcher in terms of look and all of that, but much cheaper.
It's a Russian action adventure game that's like Witcher?
I have to look it up on YouTube. Russian Witcher ripoff.
All I know for certain is that I have been also playing Stalker 2 too, and if that's a conscription program for
the name is Smuta.
If Stalker 2 is a conscription program for the war in Ukraine, then I don't want to, because Stalker 2 is fucking hard.
Yeah, Smuta. The name of the game is Smuta. And the name of if you want to look it up on no, I don't want to watch it. Stop that. And I also don't want to click on the ad. Russian state spends $10 million to make the worst RPG of 2024. And what's funny is that all the bad reviews have gotten, accusations of being spam from the Ukraine about trying to review bomb their game when it really is just terrible. I'll post the link and send you the email if you want to watch it later. It is just pathetically bad. There's the link. I'll email you, Jordan, the link as well. Bye, all. Okay, sent. Anyways, but Smuta is the name of the game. It is just fucking hilarious. Moving on. A new Pokemon project is in the works with Aardman. And for those of you who don't know who Aardman is, that's Peter Lord. Peter Lord? I'm trying to remember his name. I know his last name is Lord, but the makers of Wallace and Gromit. So hopefully Nintendo and Pokemon Company don't tell him what to do and just let him do what he does. Because he would take some dry wit British humor into Pokemon.
I just like the idea of 130 clay-based Pokemon.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Aardman also did Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit and The Curse of the Were-Rabbit and Flushed Away.
I think maybe this is what Pokemon needs, a little bit of dry wit in there, dry British wit.
So long, like I said, Nintendo is so hands-on. They have to let Aardman do what they want.
Well, we did get Cadence of Hyrule. I don't know how hands-on they were there, but that was a really good Zelda and Necrodancer crossover.
Peter Lord is his name. Yeah.
I just wonder how well a non-incredibly Japanese Pokemon is going to go over with the Pokemon fans. You know,
people like Detective Pikachu. They seem to like that.
That's true. Detective Pikachu was fine.
Everybody loves Pal World.
Oh God, and it's not Nintendo, but now Shadow the Hedgehog is coming out, or Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yeah.
Why? Why did they think anybody cares about Shadow the Hedgehog?
Because they do, and
there are people that like Shadow the Hedgehog just because you don't.
Because they wanted another excuse for Keanu to go, whoa.
And also, you severely underestimate how ridiculous Sonic fans are with that fandom and how much.
I want to see them having Sonic hook up with a human woman again. Then,
well, then watch the third movie, because that's Shadow's story.
It's fan fiction, Jonah. If you really want that badly,
it's like that Mario game, the most recent Mario game, in which Mario is interacting with normal people, which sort of gives you the little rabbit hole. Wait a minute, what the fuck is Mario then? He's not a human, apparently.
He's
just a plumber.
Yeah.
He's not a human, though. They showed humans with Mario, and Mario is definitely not a human. Then,
well, he's a differently shaped human. Humans come in different shapes and sizes.
Also, that was New York City, and people are just more normally proportioned there. And even they even did it to what's her face, the mayor, Pauline.
Pauline,
yeah, she even has like a more normal height since she made.
And what the fuck is Mario?
Maybe he has dwarfism. Lay off.
And missing fingers, and the nose the size of a watermelon.
He's the hero. That's all there is to it.
Show some compassion.
I'm showing no compassion to a video game character. You can't force me.
He doesn't need compassion. He's a well-accomplished plumber, doctor, lawyer, artist, basketball player.
So is Homer Simpson.
Tennis player.
Homer Simpson is a less accomplished Mario.
And somehow compete with Sonic in the Olympics. Anyways, one last thing. They showed the fan votes for the Game of the Year for the Game Awards, and it is fucking hilarious. The nominees for the fans game: Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, Elden Ring DLC, and Black Myth Wukong. So basically 3 gacha games, a DLC, and a meme.
Yep, pretty much.
And fans wonder why complain about how they're not ever consulted. Well, this is why. And the thing is, I think that a lot of those votes for those gacha games probably came from Asia because it is a worldwide voting. But God, I want Wuthering Waves to win just because what the fuck is Wuthering Waves?
It's a newish one, I think. But it's
it's a gacha game. Just like Genshin Impact.
I would expect Black Myth Wukong will be the winner there of that particular group.
Really good game.
What I respect the BAFTA games because they refuse to have any DLC in their awards, and they listed the what's it called? The finalists, the 10 finalists, one of which is Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which surprised me. But like I said, they had the BAFTA had the balls to have Vampire Survivors win last year. And I will say, it's a very addictive game, but it's not a game that you would expect them to give Game of the Year to. Anybody to give Game of the Year to. Which tells me that BAFTA is probably going to give Game of the Year to Balatro. Because I think BAFTA's thing is that a game has to be fun. A lot of people don't understand they're video games and not video work. Oh yeah, I forgot. I bought Civilization, the entire pack for Windows Store for $18 so that I could now get Xbox achievements instead of Steam achievements for Civ 6. And I'm actually getting really back into Civ 6, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It gives me something to play when 7 comes out.
Yep.
Because I'm not buying 7. I already played Humankind. Thank you very much. Anyways, we're going to move on to game news, okay? DJ, take it away.
All right. Visions of Mana director quits NetEase to join Square Enix.
By the way, every time I hear that publisher's name, NetEase, it makes me think it's kind of dirty, like analese. You know that? It just sounds off. NetEase.
It's ease of net, not ease of anal.
It sounds like you need lubricant. That's what it sounds like to me.
Or Autolese. It could just be proofing bread dough. We don't know.
Maybe.
Anyways.
Visions of Mana director Ryusuke Yoshida has departed NetEase to assume a new position with Square Enix. Yoshida thanked NetEase and his development team for their support, but confirmed he quit the Japanese megacorp at the end of October and will join Square Enix in December.
By the way, that sound you hear is Scott's heart fluttering.
Whilst Yoshida had been employed at NetEase subsidiary Ouka Studios.
Ouka Studios.
Ouka Studios. Visions of Mana was published by Square Enix, the company he has now just joined. Yoshida stopped short of revealing what position he'll take at Square Enix or what game or franchise he may be working on.
Gee, I wonder what.
The news comes after Ouka Studios had all but a handful of jobs cut by parent company NetEase. Ouka Studios opened in 2020 and hired staff from the likes of Capcom and Bandai Namco. Last week, NetEase told the Eurogamer it remained committed to a strong global presence, despite pulling funding from Worlds Untold, the studio founded by Mass Effect veteran Mac Walters. And just days after fellow BioWare veteran Casey Hudson announced the closure of one of his own new studio due to similar funding issues.
And neither studio actually got to make a single game.
I hope that Yoshida gets to bring some of the staff that he had with him at Ouka and over to Square Enix, because Visions of Mana was great. It takes a bit to get started. Like it's kind of a slow burn at the beginning.
Slow burn. You said that after you've played Refantasio.
Yeah, but
that's not only a slow burn. That's a real slow burn.
So does this mean that he'll probably be making more Mana games with Square Enix?
I feel like that's the case because Visions of Mana also did pretty good this year in reviews and sales.
Yeah, like I said, Scott, you must be ecstatic.
Yeah, this certainly is good news. I don't think it's bad. I mean, because I know I heard a lot again about the whole layoffs and also them saying that they want to focus on bigger games and less on streamlining things differently. So it was very concerning of what kind of games we're going to get from Square moving forward. So this looks like good news to me that we'll get games that we like RPG games like Visions of Mana, and who knows what else.
Maybe they'll make something like Visions of Morna and just slightly off. Jordan?
Intel CEO resigns.
No. I mean, I'm commenting on this article.
Oh, commenting on this article. No, I've got nothing to say on it. These kinds of shifts happen in the industry all the time. It would be nice to see if something comes of it. I can't really think of the last Square Enix game that I played that I really, was into. So, we'll see where it goes. I
mean, according to these two, they really loved Final Fantasy 16.
No, I didn't love Final Fantasy 16.
I thought it was okay. It was a good action game, but I don't know that it was a good Final Fantasy game.
No,
the big one was the Final Fantasy VII remake, which was fine. I just wish it hadn't been split up into multiple parts like that.
Yeah, that nearly bankrupted Square Enix, and that's what. Here's the thing: Square Enix had been okay. What we're going to do is we're going to get requests, and people can pay us money to make games for them, exclusively, and that's what Sony did.
I just finished the Dragon's Quest III HD 2D remake, and I want more games like that using that engine and.
Did you finish Sea of Stars?
Yes, I did. I finished that one.
Oh. Did you finish 100 Heroes?
Yes, I finished that one.
You see, you're so hungry. You just how in the world do you finish all these games so fast? I mean, it's like you play all the Trails games. Like, oh yeah, I'm done. What?
Aren't those supposed to be a while? Like,
that's my point. It's like, aren't those games 40 hours each?
Scott is a man of focus.
Locomotive is like 20, less than 20. It's like 10. I'm sorry.
Scott is a man of focus. He starts something and he finishes it.
Yes.
Done. Me, I have to jump from game to game because it's kind of my job. But
yeah, I understand.
Well, I'm savoring Indiana Jones right now. I'm taking it slowly.
You should.
But this sort of reminds me of Bungie, though, a little bit with all these with Sony and FromSoftware and all that stuff. It's sort of like Bungie probably thought it was a good idea at the time. We have to see.
Well, we're just bringing one guy over at this time. I really do hope that it means more Mana games because Visions of Mana was fun. Yeah. I hope they get to keep doing them.
Oh, well, my point was before was that Square Enix found out that this model of game making was a disaster because what was it? Only lost them $300 million. It's like, ugh. So now they're just releasing everything for everybody and saying, we're just going to do that from now on. Okay, Jordan, you can take the next item because this is sort of in your wheelhouse.
This is in my wheelhouse. Intel CEO resigns after a disastrous tenure. This comes from CNN.
Gee, I wonder why.
Intel Monday announced CEO Pat Gelsinger has resigned after a difficult stint at the company. The once dominant chipmaker's stock cratered as it missed the AI boom and was surpassed by most of its rivals. Gelsinger took over as Intel's chief executive in February of 2021, returning to the company at which he worked for decades, including as chief technology officer. He had left Intel for a stint as CEO of software giant VMware. Intel's INTC stock plunged 61% during Gelsinger's tenure. The stock rose 3% in early trading on Monday before dipping more than 1% by midday. The company announced in August that it would lay off 15% of its staff as part of an effort to slash $10 billion in costs and fundamentally change the way we operate, as Gelsinger said at the time. The year after Gelsinger took over as CEO, OpenAI introduced ChatGPT, which took the world by storm. The rest is history. And NVIDIA, which was once a tiny Intel competitor, is now the second most valuable company in the world after it bet big on chips that can power the massive data centers that power AI. NVIDIA's $3.4 trillion market value is 33 times bigger than Intel's $104 billion value. NVIDIA's stock has surged nearly 720% over the past 2 years as the company became the talk of the tech world and one of the most valuable public companies in the world.
It wasn't just AI, though. I mean, here are the mistakes that they made. One, Intel historically focused on integrated graphic solutions bundled with CPUs, right? And right now, high-performance GPUs became big, which Intel did not address. And they gave up on cell phones.
Well, they
gave up on smartphones. Yeah.
The big piece missing from this particular story, and sorry CNN, but you missed a trick here. The last 2 generations of Intel chips have been defective. The current generation and the previous generation of Intel chips self-destructed over time, and Intel had to be shamed into putting out a patch for it.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, with that, they had bullshit excuses for why. First, they said, "Oh, it's your computer's fault. It's the motherboard," which really did not make a certain motherboard be pleased. And then they had started listing different types of defaults. What the fuck does that mean?
Yep.
There's only one default that should be there. There's no such thing as multiple defaults.
So now they've had to extend warranties. They've had to do replacement programs. They've had to do all kinds of things to kind of, soften the blow of realizing that, oh, by the way, it's not just your current chips that are broken. It's your previous generation of chips as well. And that's just a huge black eye. I don't see how.
And it comes at the worst time, too, because Intel was tasked with chip manufacturing in the U.S.
Yeah.
They're tasked with manufacturing chips in the U.S., so we don't have to depend on China and India and all that stuff. And they fucked that up royally, too.
They have been, of all the chip companies or all the CPU, PC, GPU companies, Intel feels like the least dynamic out of them anymore. NVIDIA,
I've been doing AMD for the past 2 decades now.
NVIDIA is awesome when it comes to they were awesome when it comes to the RTX, and they've been awesome staying up with the AI game. AMD is powering the current generation of consoles and will probably power the next ones as well. And then NVIDIA is also inside of the Nintendo Switch and will probably be inside of Nintendo Switch too. And then, even then, you've got ARM, who is working with Apple on Apple's silicon stuff. Taiwan Semiconductor is still hugely popular throughout the world in a lot of different things. And it feels like Intel is just fallen behind all of them. It doesn't do anything all that exciting anymore. And it feels like they mostly survive.
What's interesting is that this year AMD could have eaten Intel's lunch, but their new motherboards aren't appreciably better than the last ones. And basically, people are saying get last year's because they're cheaper and they're not that far off from what you can get right now. So AMD fumbled the ball here too.
It just looks like Intel is a dead leg compared to every other competitor in its field right now, to the point where I feel like I heard recently that they're actually looking to be acquired because I don't think they can survive on their own anymore.
$104 billion market cap is not bad. I would kill to have $104 billion, but when you're operating in the space that they're operating in, and it's a little tricky. I guess the good news we can say is at least their chips aren't turning up in Russian equipment like Texas Instruments.
Right.
Well, that's Texas.
Man, I haven't heard that name in a long time. Texas Instruments.
Yeah, last thing I had from them was a calculator.
Texas Instruments chips are turning up in Russian equipment in Ukraine, and
that's because they're getting them from TIs. Those Texas Instruments computers from 1990. It's like it's like finding a bone. It's this bone is from that epoch, and that's why they're using it. Like I said, I have this computer here is starting to age, and it needs a new motherboard, and it's probably going to be an AMD Ryzen. Just depends on what kind of. I think I'm just going to increase the megabytes on it. Anyways, PC gaming is so expensive. It's getting cheaper, but it is expensive.
That's why you got to hit those sales.
Costco.
Yeah. Okay, Scott, you can take the next item.
Okay. Baldur's Gate 3 will add crossplay and 12 new subclasses in 2025. This is from Shack News. Baldur's Gate 3 continues to grow as a massive RPG. As a developer, Larian Studios has announced a slew of new content and features coming in the game's next update. 2025 will see the addition of crossplay, photo mode, and 12 new subclasses to Baldur's Gate 3. I was reading those subclasses. They're very interesting. Larian Studios announced the new content and features for Baldur's Gate 3 and a new community update. Among the new additions is crossplay, which will allow PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Mac users to play together with no restrictions. There will also be cross-progression so that players can take their characters and their journeys across platforms. That's a very good feature. In terms of gameplay, Larian will further diversify Baldur's Gate 3 character builder with 12 new subclasses, with each main class receiving at least one. These subclasses will include Death Domain for the Cleric, Arcane Archer for Fighter, Swashbuckler for Rogue, among examples, and the new subclasses will bring new spells, abilities, and animations. The new subclasses, crossplay, photo mode, and all of the other additions will arrive in Update 8 for Baldur's Gate 3, which is slated for 2025. I'm really impressed with how much they've added to this game, and they just keep, making it better. It's the real, work of love here for this game.
Agreed. Like, they already said it. I think they said at one point, they're like, we're done. We've done all the things we want to do. Now we're going to move on to our next thing. And then
Bullshit. How come every time they say that, it's like, oh, and Eric Bernot is going to add a new thing to Starview Valley? They're all liars.
They have a very large studio. They can put a certain percentage on Baldur's Gate 3 maintenance, while the rest of them go do Divinity 3 or 4 or whatever it is. Divinity.
Wasn't the original talking point we're not going to do DLC? I seem to remember that.
Well, they're not doing DLC. They're just releasing free stuff.
Yeah.
These are updates, not DLC.
Yeah.
By the way, in the Humble Bundle store, there is a new D&D bundle with Baldur's Gate 1, 2, Icewind Dale, and all those other ones. And you'll notice there's one that's missing, which will always be missing, and that's Icewind Dale 2. Why?
Because somebody lost it.
Because someone lost the fucking, code. Just like they had to rebuild Silent Hill 1 and 2 from the ground up, they'd have to find some way to rebuild. And for those who don't know, you just can't copy what's, from a Commodore 64 copy of Icewind Dale 2. You just can't, port it over. That's not how it works.
They need the open source code.
They need the source code.
Yeah. Otherwise, they'd have to make it from scratch, and that's really expensive.
Yeah. Also, and I hate the fact that it's getting overlooked with all the Baldur's Gate 3 stuff, but the Pathfinder series has been really strong, and they're still adding to that game too. The newest Pathfinder. For those who don't know, Pathfinder is AD&D without AD&D. It's sort of like they use all the AD&D stuff. They just don't call it AD&D.
They did a Kickstarter for a third Pathfinder game now that they're making.
Check the Humble right now because they included all the DLC for the both
Wrath of
both Pathfinder games. Yeah.
One of my buddies has been hoping that they go to. I guess Pathfinder has sort of a like Warhammer 40K sci-fi version, and my buddy is hoping they move towards that because in that, liches are like space gangsters that run a entire mafia organization throughout the universe.
Well, you're gonna love this. They also have a Pathfinder book bundle, 72 books.
Yeah,
nice
for $30.
Physical or digital?
Digital. I can't imagine having to lump all those books onto your in the mail.
Yeah, that would be really, really. That would be quite the shipping cost.
Yeah. Where the hell is it? Can't find the bundles for. I mean, it's for another 2 days, so you can for another few days. But yeah, they include Icewind Dale and all the other things. But I stopped playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'll probably restart it at some point.
My problem is I just don't have the endurance and attention span for a turn-based RPG anymore. I wish I did. I just don't.
Yeah.
This one is this is one of those hybrids in which everything is real time until you get into combat.
Yeah. You can go into story mode. That'll probably make it go much faster.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because when you play even on regular mode, your characters can die pretty quickly, and it's kind of frustrating. Anyways, last item. Dragon Age Inquisition's final expansion originally forced you to blow up Skyhold, and this comes from Eurogamer. An early plan for Dragon Age Inquisition's Trimactic Trespasser expansion would have seen the players forced to blow up their beloved base Skyhold. Skyhold is where the bulk of the game is set, and newly posted concept art from Trespasser's early days shows Skyhold once set to be sacrificed during the events of the expansion in dramatic style. So I'm just cutting this short because at the end of Trespass, you have the option of either continuing the Inquisition or disbanding it. And Skyhold belonged to Solus, who is one of the major characters in the fourth game. And it would have been crushing to destroy Skyhold, to tell you the truth. But narratively, it didn't really make a difference because Skyhold never appears in Trespasser. You played the Trespasser, didn't you, TJ?
No, I didn't. Actually, I haven't played any of Inquisition. For realsies.
I played Dragon Age Origins. That's about it.
Yeah, like I reviewed Vanguard. Oh, did we lose Jonah? Is he still there? He's frozen up.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, we might have lost Jonah. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Oh, crud.
Let's check Skype. I think he's... Yeah, I guess it crashed. Oh, no.
I hope he didn't lose the recording.
Yeah, that would suck. We were so close to being done. All right.
That says we're still live.
Yeah, we might be.
Jordan, have you been playing anyone besides Jeff the Landshark, or is it mostly Jeff the Landshark?
I have experimented with Cloak and Dagger, and I've experimented with Moon Knight.
I hear Moon Knight is fun, if not a little bit scrubby.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah.
Wolverine was the other attacker that I was using outside of Magic. He is ridiculous how fast he can get on top of somebody and then just destroy them. That rage when he like boosts his melee attack.
Yeah.
Just wild.
Yeah.
I love how they've translated the characters, like the way that they have sort of Overwatch vibes, but they also are still like thematically correct to their character.
Right. And I the thing that only one tiny thing bugs me, and that some of the character designs just don't seem right. Like Psylocke's design, you have to get the DLC costume to actually be Psylocke. I don't know what they had her dressed as, but it was not Psylocke.
The recent like envisionings of her go like really hard into like the female ninja vibes.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like the leotard things that she had going on in the 90s.
Right.
I'm not mad at it, but yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a certain like there's a certain part where you go so crazy with the aesthetic that it just doesn't even look like the character anymore.
Yeah. They had her dressed like Strider from the old Sega Genesis game.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do. There's another character that's kind of like that where I feel like Penny Parker got like a ridiculous like completely rework on her design.
I was very surprised to see Penny Parker in the game. I was shocked to see Jeff the Landshark in the game. Jeff is just an adorable, lovable character, and my wife and I have been continually wanting Marvel to get more Jeff merch out there. And all of a sudden he pops up in Rivals, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. I really hope that with Galactus kind of being there, I hope we get Silver Surfer.
Yeah, I can see Silver Surfer.
I've seen that Doctor Doom is coming, and I think somebody pointed out that the Thing might be in the game files already.
Yeah, there's no Fantastic Four characters. There's a lot of X-Men characters that they could put in. Nightcrawler having a teleporter would be awesome.
I really wish when I saw John Krasinski play.
Okay, there we go.
He's
Mr.
back!
Fantastic. Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's back.
Well, the problem is that my internet went complete. Oh, now my internet is back again. Except I'm now on my cell phone.
Are you going to switch back to the computer?
I'll see what I can do, but it's weird.
Did you lose the recording, or?
Of course it's recording. We're on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Let me do this again because it should have recorded everything on YouTube.
Yeah, we were still talking while you were gone.
Yeah.
I know. Because I logged in here. I had to log in as a host. Otherwise, I was stuck in the green room until then. So, let me see. StreamYard. Oh, God. Let me go back to my thing here and see what I can do. Boink. Oh, the problem is I don't want to end it. See, that's the problem.
You can't bow out without...
Uh-oh.
Again.
Frozen on his cell phone now, too. There you go.
Back.
Oh, there we go. I just add to stage. Boom. And now I have two of me, and this is really weird. So I'm going to close this. Bye-bye.
If you left it open, now you could be Andy Davis.
Oh, now I got echo.
They're removed from stage. Boom. Okay. That was trippy. Spectrum is always nice, and by nice I mean terrible.
I have the same deal on Quantum.
Why is this not? Oh, you know what? This is not.
To cap off that conversation, Jordan, I do hope Nightcrawler makes it. I also hope Iceman and Cyclops make it.
Off myself now.
Iceman and Cyclops would be good. Colossus would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can hear myself on stage.
We can hear you.
Oh, wait, that's why. You're on the little thing here.
Hello, can you hear us now?
No, it isn't that I can hear you. Oh, there we go. No, I have to make sure that I can hear but the thing is that the earbuds is where I have the audio.
Got it.
This is so fascinating. So yeah, fortunately the thing didn't care that I was off. It's just going to keep streaming to YouTube.
Yeah.
I hope.
We kept it going while you were away.
It looked like it was still going.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, StreamYard was smarter than I was. You were saying
I have not played Inquisition or its expansions, so I don't.
Here's the thing: if you didn't like Dragon Age Origins, you're really not going to like Inquisition because it takes patience, and I have very little patience with that game. Here's the benefit of Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, which were done before the Frostbite engine. You could use cheat codes, and I ended up using the kill everybody in the room cheat code over and over and over again in both games because the combat is terrible. I just do it for the story.
See, I didn't even like the story on Origins. Origins
and
just annoyed
me. The best thing
me.
is that Morgan's story just really... She went from being, you know, a this cynical character, and in the end, especially the good ending, she's like, she's like elevated like into the ultimate good guy, which you would never expected her to become this, because she was a bit of a cunt in the first game.
You can say cunt on YouTube?
I guess so. Wow.
I'll be demonetized, but I don't make any money from YouTube, so I don't care. Cursing is only the concern of people who get monetized. I'm not getting monetized.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and the character of Solus, we are only introduced to an Inquisition, but it is such a touching story in the Veilguard, and they should have called a Dragon Age the Dread Wolf, because it is really about him. Have you seen the ending yet, TJ?
Of Inquisition?
No, of Veilguard.
No, I haven't gotten to the credits.
The good ending is, oh my god, it is. I don't like the fact that so many things were cut off. Like, you only have 3 decisions that affect Dread Wolf, because for some reason they weren't going to do the entire save file thing. So a lot of what you did is lost. But the 3 things that are included, especially if you have an Inquisitor who's romanced Solus, the ending is so beautiful.
Yeah, I've heard that there's a lot going on if you pick if you make your characters so that they were in a relationship with Solus at the beginning of this game.
And also there are so many decisions which are just so heartwarming. Like, okay, spoiler, and we did spoilers for it anyway. Oh God, I forgot his name. I know it's Manfred is his thing. Our necromancer. He had a choice to either resurrect Manfred, who is his skeleton buddy, his assistant, or become a lich, which is not a bad thing in this thing. It just means he lives forever. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know anybody who doesn't want to resurrect Manfred. Because he's already learned how to speak, and now he becomes a mage, and his nickname is Magefred. I actually posted the video of that in YouTube, and also the discussion with Mythal. And like I said, there are so many payoffs in this game. It's like it justifies everything that happened before. Oh yeah, and they also they were going to let you be somehow import your hero of Ferelden from the first game into Inquisition. But they couldn't get it to work, so they just said, screw it. We'll just have him on the war table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so what you guys were talking about?
Oh, we were just talking about which characters we would want to see in Marvel Rivals in the future.
Oh, okay.
They have a lot of X-Men in there, which was one of the biggest things that I think was a draw for this.
Do they have any Fantastic Four in there?
No,
not yet. But
There
Doom is coming next season, and people have spotted that the Thing might be in the files already.
Well, like I said, Disney had their hissy fit and found out that no one liked the Immortals and no one liked the off-brand versions of the X-Men and Fantastic Four, And the Fantastic Four is so intertwined with the company's history, there's no way they could get rid of them.
Yeah. The only reason they sidelined the Fantastic Four and the X-Men was because of the Fox deal, and now Disney owns Fox, so it's all good.
And they try to minimize Spider-Man, but the problem is that Spider-Man's your logo, for one thing.
Yeah.
I liked John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic in that Doctor Strange
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, that was really good to see.
Yeah.
Did you know that with the DC Marvel crossovers, it wasn't Marvel who was opposed to it, it was DC.
Yeah, there were issues on both sides. Joe Quesada on the Marvel side,
Marvel was perfectly willing to do DC crossovers, though.
Yeah. It would be good to see. We haven't had one in decades now.
Not since JLA Avengers, which was 2003.
Yeah.
But the thing is that every time I play Marvel's Midnight Suns, I so much want to see Superman in there. to get his perspective. He is such a fit for that game.
Agreed. I think so. Like they've got Galactus, or like a girl version of Galactus. Is there an actual girl version of Galactus that is like?
I have no idea. All I know is there's a girl version of Thor.
Not to my knowledge, and I'm sitting in a room full of comic books, but and not to my knowledge.
I just have Homestar Runner back there.
She might be a Squirrel Girl thing.
Could be a Squirrel Girl thing, yeah.
Because I looked it up just now. Galacta, daughter of Galactus.
You know, looking at my Homestar Runner back there, I want another Homestar Runner game. Because last one we had was Strong Bad's basically a cool game for. I mean, Strong Bad something game for cool people. I want another Homestar Runner game.
But the fact that Galactus figures into the early part of Marvel Rivals makes me think that Silver Surfer is also probably coming at some point.
They would have to do Surfer at some point, or one of the other heralds.
Superman was a herald of Galactus once in the Superman Fantastic Four crossover. I have all the crossovers, and of all of them, the two that really stand out are the Batman Captain America one by John Byrne, and the Uncanny X-Men New Teen Titans one by Marv Wolfman. That was one
great.
Of the first one. Yeah,
that was great. There were some Batman Spider-Man ones done in the 90s.
There are two of them.
Yeah.
There are two of them.
Yep.
There's also two Batman Punisher ones. And the funny thing is the first one was with Azrael Batman. But yeah, there are some terrible ones. Like the Spider-Man Gen 13 was the crossover no one asked for. The one that was entertaining was there were two that are entertaining. One was the Superman Silver Surfer one, which was actually a stealth crossover between Mr. Plick and the Impossible Man. And what was the other subversive one? They had the Superman versus the Incredible Hulk one, but that one was basically set in the 50s. It's sort of like they decided to take the TV version of Bruce Banner walking away alone and the thing.
Marvel did an in-continuity crossover that has never really widely been recognized, and that was with the New Universe when DC killed off Barry Allen's Flash.
Yeah, Buried Alien.
Buried Alien, yes.
Yeah, and there was always this. People always thought that the Impossible Man was Mr. Plick, but in a different costume. The crossover, what's it called, didn't do it. I mean, DC basically made the Fantastic Four, and then you had Hank Henshaw come out of it. So this one-time joke became one of Superman's most powerful villains, Cyborg Superman. But the other one, I was going to bring up the other one. Oh, yeah, and the Galactus and Darkseid crossover. Which they must have had a lot of fun with it because everybody's talking like Jack Kirby's speech. All these big speeches. You should check out the Darkseid Galactus crossover. It's weird. Anyways, it sounds like we're starting to run out of things to say. So look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy feedback, so comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us in iTunes and leave some iTunes comments, although our iTunes is down again. So leave comments in our Podbean. I don't know what's going on with iTunes and Podbean, but this, or at least the site, because it keeps on going all over the place. One of the funny things is that when I upload something to Podbean, it actually makes a YouTube video version of it. So there's going to be a podcast version of this, and then a YouTube version of the YouTube version, except it's edited. So our fans can watch us do all the mistakes here, and then we'll have a slightly more cleaned up version later. Anyways, you can find me on Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Chart the Sage.
Are you on Blue Sky? Oh, you are on Blue Sky.
You can find me down the road at Burkerville.
Okay.
Okay. And thanks for dropping by there, Jordan.
Yeah, nice seeing you guys.
Let's talk more Marvel Rivals when it gets more developed, like when we're in season 2 and stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's also. We're coming to the holiday season, so probably be one more. And the problem is that there's not much. Oh wait, there is something coming out in December. Jesus Christ, I almost forgot. What's coming out in December? Oh, that's right, Indiana Jones. That the Game Awards does their nominees in November, and they have some. And it's like, oh, well, I guess Indiana Jones will have to wait until next year. The Oscars does it right. They do all their nominations in February. Like after the year's over.
Yeah, it's like Jeff Knightley just wants to have a big advertisement stuff and just whatever.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I seem to remember last year or the year before they had issues with games being nominated that actually had not yet come out. That they were on the verge of coming out, but they got it.
Yeah, and I don't like that. That games looking most forward to Death Stranding 2. What?
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to Death Stranding 2.
Yeah.
Although it's funny because Hideo Kojima now owns the Death Stranding license, so he can do whatever he wants with it. He can do multi-platform if he wants.
Coming soon to Amazon Prime.
And I wonder how many hours he's going to do. Maybe this time he's going to have 90 minutes of cutscene before we can actually move the character around. I said this over and over and over again. I just appreciate Death Stranding if it was just you trying to balance huge blocks on your back, and that's all it was. No monsters, no nothing like that. Just you dealing with terrain that gets increasingly more hostile. Anyways, we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.
Bye.